everybody. Welcome to the Popverse. We are about to enter it together. I am Ashley Victoria Robinson, the video producer here at Popverse. Welcome to Enter the Popverse, the very first episode of our weekly live roundup show right here on YouTube. Now, Popverse is a virtual realm created by Read Pop, where we celebrate the best in TV, movies, and comics, and we are going to be doing that here with you each and every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget that you can check out everything we are talking today and so much more if you go to thepopverse.com. While you're over there, why not get yourself a membership? You can get all of the most exclusive contents that we are producing day after day, week after week, hour after hour. There is so much cool stuff going on there. I also want to remind you before we get into news and interviews and all of that cool stuff that our next in-person comic book convention is going to be Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, Washington from March 2nd to 5th. Don't forget, a couple weeks ago, we revealed the new logo over on our Instagram at The Popverse. Please go and check that out. We will also be live streaming a ton of cool panels from Emerald City Comic Con that you can check out. So if you are not attending in person, you will get the best virtual experience of Emerald City Comic Con possible if you join us in the Popverse. All right, all friends, how are we doing? Let us get started. As I'm sure many of you know, it is Black History Month this February. And what is so great about that is that we in the Popverse are putting on a bunch of exclusive content dealing with that. You can see right here, Tiffany Babb, our deputy editor, has a great catch-all where we are celebrating Black characters, creators, and everything important about Black History Month. There is a great roundup. You can find all kinds of great links to articles, content, videos, recommendations, all kinds of great stuff that we are creating in the Popverse this February for Black History Month. We are very, very proud of what we're doing over there. In addition to that, let's get to some news. I'm sure all of you saw this. If you are Spider-Man fans, if you are Spider-Verse fans, if you are Sony fans, we are getting a Spider-Man Noir television show. Can you even imagine? Sony announced that working with Amazon Studios, they are going to be producing a Spider-Man Noir live action television show. That is what really got me, friends. Live action. When I think of Spider-Man Noir in the larger pop culture sphere, I think of Spider-Man Noir spinning out of Into the Spider-Verse, spinning out of Sony Animation and the Nicolas Cage performance that really rooted this character and gave us so much joy in watching him deal with a world full of color and a lack of egg creams in his life, to be very frank and honest. This announcement also comes on the heels of Amazon Studios announcing that they are working on a Silk Spider Society television show. I personally am a huge Silk fan. I have loved this character since she was first introduced. I would say that of all of the Spider-Mans and all of the Spider-Verses, I was surprised to see that Spider-Man Noir was the character who was going to be the one featured in a live action television show. But I think it is a fun and interesting and dynamic choice. I also think since both Silk and Spider-Man Noir are being produced by Amazon Studios, I think there is a ton of great crossover potential here. I'm not necessarily sure that I believe that that is something that Amazon Studios might be interested in. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse just happened and was just the biggest, baddest, most powerful movie to come out of superheroes in a long time. I would argue it's the best superhero movie that's ever been made. I'm not sure if you're going into these projects if you want to have as much crossover potential as possible, or if you want to make sure that we are keeping these characters singular, we are telling the best stories possible with them, and that it is visually, narratively, and functionally different than what Into the Spider-Verse did. But I definitely think that if there's not a discussion about a crossover treatment, that would be foolish. I would also love to know here in the comments or over on social media, are there any other characters in the Spider-Verse that you would like to see get a live action treatment? Because there is a huge difference, a world of difference between live action and animation. My dark horse pick is going to be Spider-Man, which is a million individual spiders who are telepathically bonded and think that they're Peter Parker. That is my favorite wild card Spider-Man character. I think that character is so funny. And if they had the ovaries to bring them on screen, I would be deeply, deeply impressed. All right, we got spider talk out of the way. For anybody who's here, maybe looking for something a little darker, I want to do some horror talk. We got a really, really cool trailer, but I have to say, I cannot do this alone. And I am so thrilled to welcome to join me to talk about the Scream trailer, Miss Veronica Valencia. Welcome. Hi, Veronica.
Hi.
How are
Hello,
you?
everyone.
Tell us what you love about Scream and then give me all of your hottest takes about the new trailer, Jenna Ortega.
Gosh, what's not to love about Scream? I mean, for me personally, I think it's one of the most unique views on horror amongst like just the horror genre because it has such interesting commentary about just the tropes and really acknowledges and that satirical vibe. It is what it is. It knows what it is. It's absolutely amazing. The sixth movie, I think, is going to be so insane. Because it basically is taking off from where the fifth movie was. And for any fans out there who are fans of Scream, you'll know that the fifth movie was really a kind of passing of the torch, a transition into kind of this next generation new stage of the Scream franchise. And so, yeah, so it's now following Sam and Tara. And for those of you that don't know, Tara is played by Jenna Ortega. But then we also see some familiar faces like Courtney Cox as our lovely Gail Weathers, and Hayden Panettiere, who's back as Kirby from the fourth movie. So it's going to be insane. I think moving Ghostface to the city is definitely higher stakes than, you know, keeping him in like a small town or like something like Woodsboro. Just because there's that feeling of like it's a huge city, literally can be anyone, literally can be everywhere. So the stakes I feel would be much, much higher.
So Veronica, when you saw this trailer, what were your expectations going into it?
I feel like I kind of mentioned, I feel like going into it, the stakes are going to be much higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be a big expansion of like what Scream can do now that they are introducing new characters, now that they've kind of set up like we brought back the original for this kind of like requel or like reboot that they did in the last movie. And so I think it's definitely just going to be, my expectations are it's going to be like an expansion and higher stakes now that we are evolving and going into this kind of new phase of the franchise.
Can I ask you like a tinfoil hat conspiracy question? Do you think this trailer would have been as Jenna Ortega heavy if Wednesday hadn't popped off as big as it was?
Jenna Ortega is definitely having a moment,
Yeah.
but I think that she's a very talented actress, and I definitely think that, you know, yes, Wednesday was incredibly popular, but she was definitely, you know, being a part of the Scream franchise is definitely a career like moment as well because it's such an amazing franchise. For any Jane the Virgin fans out there, like really seeing OG Jenna Ortega like grow up into what she's doing now is really, really amazing.
Did you ever think we would get 6 entire Scream movies?
I mean, one can hope. We've had so many additional like movies and reboots and remakes of other very popular horror franchise. One can definitely hope. And I think the thing that is so unique about Scream is, like I said, it knows what it is and it's always new because, like I said, Ghostface can be anyone. It's not necessarily always going to be Mike Myers. It's not always necessarily going to be Freddy Krueger. It can literally be anything. And I think that whodunit and that mystery element on top of the commentary, on top of the satirical idea and like messaging and just like tone, I mean, we want it. So and we're excited to have it.
Do you have any expectations based on Scream 5 or maybe some of the cast who's returning about who Ghostface might be?
I don't have any idea because we are getting even more new characters in the new Scream movie. And so it can possibly one of them, it could be someone completely outside the realm of what we expect. I do have, without getting into too spoilery territory, I do have hopes of maybe what they can incorporate in terms of legacy characters based on what we saw in Scream 5. But who knows?
I just want to say, because like I super want to know what your conspiracy theories are, and I'm sure a bunch of other people do. If you want to see Veronica like break some of these down, if we want this in video form, I would love to see those comments. I would love to see those tweets. I would love people to let us know that they are interested in that. We have a comment from the Mixture group who said the trailer got me interested. Ooh, in the franchise for sure.
Yes, yes. I thank you for your comment. I highly suggest that you go watch it. And I mean, you can technically pop in any Scream movie because I mean, aside from like Sidney Prescott and some of the other characters, like the movie and like the storyline it presents is kind of its own standalone type of thing. But yes, yes, highly recommend. Please go check it out. It's so
I'm
good.
so glad that you brought that up because I haven't seen Scream 5. I've only seen the original. I know, shame on me. So I didn't know if they were going to be user friendly or not. So it's so lovely to hear you say that they are for new viewers.
Yeah, I would say like the first 3 are kind of user friendly. It or like new audience from
Mhm.
friendly. They definitely do take references from previous movies, and so like yeah, if you've seen it, you know. If you not, it's truly not the biggest deal in the world. The fifth one, I feel like you would have a bit more appreciation for if you saw the originals because it does uh have a lot of elements of the original franchise woven within it, and it's truly like a good setup for what's to come and what you've loved so far.
So we talked about our queen, Jenna Ortega, and we did mention some of the cast members who are returning. Is there anyone that you're really excited to see come back and reprise their roles in Scream 6? I can't believe there's 6 Screams.
Hayden Panettiere 100% coming
Yeah.
back as Kirby. Because I mean, her character was in Scream 4, and I personally believed that her character was gone in that movie. But then there had been hints and like
Oh.
confirmations over the years that prove that her character is returning. So that's really, really exciting. And again, like Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, absolutely iconic. There are some characters who won't be returning, as some of us know, like the wonderful Nev Campbell who plays Sidney Prescott.
Mhm.
So there are some characters returning. There are some new characters returning, and I'm excited. I'm very curious what they're going to do with this next movie.
So, Veronica, I think we can tease this. You obviously are our Scream expert. That's why we brought you on today. We talked about how Emerald City Comic Con is coming up right around the corner, and you are getting up to some screamy business there. Tell everybody what's going on.
Yes. So, for those of you out there watching, Popverse will be attending Emerald City Comic Con. And at Emerald City Comic Con on Friday, I believe, there will be a panel with the original cast of the Scream franchise. So, that is Nev Campbell, that is Matthew Lillard, that is Skeet Ulrich, and Jamie Kennedy. So, you got your Sydney, you got your Billy Stu, and you got your Randy. And I will be moderating that panel, and we will be getting up to some spooky goodness.
How psyched are you to be doing this?
Oh my gosh, it is so amazing. And I'm super, super excited. And I think it's a very interesting experience because this panel with the original cast is happening 1 year, I think, after the 25 years since the original, and it's happening like a week before the new movie comes out. So it's positioned in a really interesting spot where I think the hype for this franchise is growing and growing, and people are very excited for it.
Amazing. Now, Veronica is another video producer and host here in the Popverse with me, so you can find her all over this YouTube channel. But before we say goodbye to you, Veronica, where can people find you on the internet? Where can they come chat at you with more Scream questions, insights, tinfoil hat conspiracies, all of that? And let me turn this alarm off on my camera.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at it's me, Veronica_V. Make sure you get the underscore. And yeah, I'm more than happy to be chatting anything horror. And yeah, let me know.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know we'll be seeing you here in the Popverse many, many times. So bye. Stay safe.
Bye. Thank you.
Make good choices. Oh, I cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm a monster. Also, don't forget, if you haven't checked out the Scream trailer, Scream 6 yet, we have a great bit of coverage by Chris Arendt in the Popverse on the website. And then follow up with Veronica. The minute we knew that this panel was happening, we knew that there was nobody better to handle it than Veronica. I'm dying to watch it. And if you're very nice and you ask us very kindly, you might be able to watch that with a Popverse membership or here on the YouTube channel. Only time will tell. Okay, I want to respond to a comment that really, really got me together. Let me find it right here. Graham McMillan, Popverse contributor, said that he liked the tinfoil hat conspiracy. Thank you so much. Sometimes we like to deal with rumors. We like to conjecture. We like to play. And that is something that we are going to be doing right now in this next story. And the reason that I evoked Graham is because Graham wrote this article. So let's have a round of applause for Graham McMillan himself. We started this show with some Marvel news. So let's get to some more Marvel news right here in the middle. Is Quasar going to appear in the MCU? Big question, important question, lots of fun things to talk about here. I do want to let you know before we dive too deep into this that there are several members of the Popverse team, myself included, who are going to get to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania early starting next week. So there is going to be a lot of fun and exclusive early content that we're going to be sharing both in video and written form. I promise you it's not going to have any spoilers in it. It's going to be totally safe, but that is going to be a really fun project that we're releasing next week across multiple platforms leading up to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So I'm picking up my tinfoil conspiracy hat. It's shaped like a swan. I'm sure you can tell by my excellent space work. I'm putting it on. Ting. Thank you so much. And now we're going to talk about, is Quasar going to appear in the MCU? So something that Graham pointed out here, which I think is super, super intelligent, is that if you are a Marvel Unlimited user, you know that you can kind of see what's going on with future plans, things in development, stuff like that, because they will let you know by what's being released. And a ton of quantum realm stories and Quasar stories from the 80s have started showing up over here on the Marvel Unlimited world, which leads us to believe there's a chance that this character is going to be highlighted. Now, he gives you a great history of the quantum zone, which I'm not going to go into because I'm not as smart as Graham, but William Jackson Harper, the hunk, the absolute piece of eye candy from The Good Place, is playing a character named Quaz. We can highlight the name right here. Quaz, Quaz, who's to know a powerful telepath from inside the quantum realm. What does that mean? Well, it could mean nothing, or it could mean something. It could mean that it's an abbreviation for Quasar because Marvel Studios don't want to spoil it yet for some reason. There is also a really fun pet theory that this character is going to be Reed Richards. I would be totally fine with William Jackson Harper playing Reed Richards, but we've also seen in past MCU installations that Marvel likes to go for some of the weirder cosmic-y stuff, and I think including Quasar in this way would be a really, really fun thing to do. We also know that in some of the more comedy-based franchise like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Ant-Man and the Wasp, characters have nicknames, and the Quasar, Illusion, it's just too good to pass up. I would love to know in the comments here, everybody watching live or on social media at Popverse says, do you think this is going to happen? Or who do you think William Jackson Harper is playing? I know some people already know, so please be respectful and don't spoiler, but I think that this is a really, really fun conspiracy theory to run down the rabbit hole on. I see we have a super chat from Jawin. Thank you so much for your super chat. You can always send us super chats. That bumps you to the top of the list of questions that we're going to answer. And he asked, will Kang beat up everyone in the Marvel Universe? I have to say, like many people, I am obsessed with Jonathan Majors. He's done a lot of bulking up with Ant-Man and the Wasp and his Loki appearance as Kang and Creed 3 under his belt. And if he was going to beat up the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, I wouldn't be upset about it. Maybe in the style of Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, we're going to have Kang beats up the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe that's what the Kang Dynasty is. It's just various versions of Kang hopping into other series and kicking the snot out of some of those characters. I think he definitely has the capacity for it. The Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer certainly makes him seem like a threat. And I think this is a very fun question. Tiffany Babb says quantum bands. I would love to see the quantum bands, even if William Jackson Harper as Quaz isn't Quasar. I would love to see the quantum bands engaged with and used in some way, shape, or form, even if they want to take the Stargirl route and make it like a belt or make it like a staff. I think the quantum bands are way, 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 way too cool a concept to simply let lie and go fallow in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania universe of it all. Josh Bertoni, welcome, another Popverse contributor. Says, speaking of Kang's Dynasty, don't forget that he's kind of Reed Richards' father. Oh, you are just about to light the comments and the social media aflame. The key word here is kind of, and I'm going to put a pin in this. When the Fantastic Four does eventually make their debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think we're definitely going to be playing with this. I also think the fact that now I'm going to get everyone's names mixed up, that Jonathan Majors is playing Kang and then William Jackson Harper was cast in the movie makes people believe that those two characters might be related. Because again, kind of his father. Ooh, that is like my tinfoil conspiracy hat just slipped down over my eyes with those comments. I love it. I love running down these rabbit holes and exploring fandom and exploring these stories in this way. And I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for going on this tangent with me. Okie dokie. So we have done Scream. We have done Spider-Man. We have done the larger implications of the Marvel comic universe. Oh, I want to pop in this comment from Jawin, who says, Kang is Reed Richards' descendant from an alternate universe. Sorry, I'm actually you in the comics. Okay, see, I told you everyone was going to be fighting about it. Everyone's related, and it's complicated. I think we would be remiss if we didn't add one more science fiction adventure story interview to the show today. You saw this in the description. You saw this in the thumbnail. I am now so excited to share with you an exclusive interview that I did mere hours ago with actor Todd Stashwick. Todd is playing Captain Shaw in Star Trek Picard Season 3, which comes out in just a few days. I'm going to introduce him to you. We're going to talk all things Star Trek, and I'm going to drop this for you right meow. You know him from Star Trek Picard and 12 Monkeys. He is a writer for Skydance, Marvel Games, Forspoken, and the savant behind Mystic Libations. Todd Stashwick is joining us today. Hi, Todd.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you doing today?
We just last night had our premiere at the Chinese theater, and so my voice is a little threadbare from talking above the din. But you got me whole hog, both feet.
Oh, I'm so proud. Also, maybe the vacuum of space, maybe she's hard on the vocal cords, right?
She does. Yeah, it's taxing.
So I have to ask, this isn't your first Star Trek. You play a Vulcan in Star Trek Enterprise, and this isn't your first time. Well,
technically, right. I was a Romulan.
Spoiler!
As a Vulcan.
20-year-old spoiler.
Yeah, I was going to say the statute of limitations, I think, have run out.
Someone's going to find you on Twitter, and they're going to tell you that you spoiled this for them.
Yeah, I spoiled it. They're like, what? Enterprise, that 23-year-old show?
Mm-hmm. Hey, if anyone also hasn't seen Enterprise, it is fantastic. So please
terrific show. What year was it? I think it was 2004, right?
Yes, you were a mere 4 years old at the time. You played the cutest little baby Vulcan that we ever saw.
Baby Vulcan.
But so you played a Vulcan.
Just learning how to do that.
There you go. A Vulcan, not Vulcan. This also isn't your first time working with Terry Metalis. So is Captain Shaw the role that you've been training your whole life to play?
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody, when I was doing an interview the other day, and they said, well, what was the audition like for Shaw? I said 4 seasons of 12 Monkeys. Yeah. Because I didn't actually audition for Shaw. In 1974, my cousin gave me for Christmas, he gave me my Kirk, Spock, and McCoy action figures. And so I have been pretending to be a captain in Starfleet since I was 6. So this has been a long nerdy road that have led to this confluence of events where I somehow find myself in the chair of my own ship.
Okay, speaking of chair, you play the captain of the Titan, a legendary ship that I was so psyched to see finally getting the recognition deserved. And we have Jonathan Frakes as Riker, also
Yep.
a captain of the Titan. And we have Patrick
Former
Stewart, captain of the
captain of the Titan.
Enterprise. Yes, so in between takes, who actually got to sit in the captain's chair? Was there a fight over it? Did we throw hands? How did that go?
Yeah, the funny part is, I've heard on other Star Trek sets, it's always been like sacrosanct that no one sits in the captain's chair.
Mm-hmm.
It was a free for all because it was the most spinny. Like, it was fun to sit in my chair because it was super spinny. But some of the other chairs on command, the arms would break, so they eventually had to put a sign on my chair that said "No lounging." Yeah.
And you have a lot of scenes with the two of them and with the iconic Jerry Ryan, three legends, luminary talents in the Star Trek world. As an actor, was this just a masterclass for you day after day after day?
It's funny because I had worked with Jonathan Frakes as a director a couple of times, and then Terry, who was my producer on 12 Monkeys, so 4 seasons of that. So they kind of, both of them primed the pump for me. When I got to that set, it was a very warm, wonderful set. The writing was so good, and that all I had to do was lean into it, say the words, and play the scenes. And so, yeah, we were all bringing our A game because this is a legacy, right? Like, this is a legacy that came long before me. It'll be here long after me. And our job is to be custodians and to bring our A game to serve the material as best as we can. Yeah. And they were inspiring.
You're in a very elite group of people who have not only been in Star Trek, but have been a Starfleet captain. That's like being James Bond.
A little something, right? It's, I never thought about it like that when you're doing the work. I mean, part of me was, again, 6 years old going, I'm on the bridge, I got a phaser. But most of me, which is the adult man actor person, is like, I have a character to play, I have scenes to do, I have to learn my lines, and I just have to bring the truth and the reality of the relationship. It wasn't until like really yesterday at the Chinese with all the Star Trek fans there, where you suddenly go, oh yeah, this is kind of rarefied air, this captainhood, and how it's treated by the fans, that you are the captain of a ship. It's really humbling, and it's really wonderful. Yeah.
If you could say, are we getting a Shaw action figure?
I don't know.
Okay. Everyone, get on Twitter.
If they make a Shaw action figure, I can just walk off into the ocean, because as you see, this is my nerd lair, and I love the toys. So yeah, that would be pretty darn cool.
It would just be so lovely if 20 years from now someone was like, and I had my Captain Shaw action figure, and now I'm the captain of the Titan 5, and I always knew this was where I was going to be.
I love what you're saying.
Thank you. So Captain Shaw, without getting too spoilery into who he is and what he's about, but he is an engineer, which was an engineer before he was a captain, which is for being in Starfleet is as close as you can get to a kind of blue collar job. You actually have to go and touch things and get your hands dirty. Deacon is also very much in 12 Monkeys. And if you haven't seen 12 Monkeys, shame on you. Go stream it right now. Deacon's also very like working class, blue collar, tough type dude. Is there something about playing these characters who are willing to go in and do the work that really appeals to you?
100%. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. My father fixed machines for a living. He had his name over his pocket. First one up, last one home. Fixed cars. So I was around that my whole life. That is, I mean, I turned out to be like the arty farty actor boy, but my life is I'm a blue collar kid from the Midwest, and so then Terry kind of wrote that into the character, and the character is literally from Chicago, and he literally refers to himself as a grease monkey.
Yes.
And so I like these salt of the earth characters. I like the fact that they don't have a problem speaking their mind. They don't suffer fools.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do the right thing when they have all the information, but they do not go off half cocked. And I kind of dig that. Like they want to, like a carpenter, they measure twice, cut once. And so I really dig that about characters like this.
Measure twice, cut once is, having seen a couple of the episodes, a very apt description of Shaw that I would not have thought of. You kind of blew my mind with that.
Yeah. He does not make rash decisions. He'll make quick decisions in the moment, but he needs all the information, all of it. He's not going to, like, if you're keeping things from him, he's playing his cards tight. Which is what is fun about watching the response to the character so far is people go, he's right. He's right.
Yeah.
he may be a jerk, but he's right. And so that's what's really been a blast about watching how people receive him. Like, oh, he's pretty funny and he's right. He may be a jerk because he's being nasty to the people that they've loved for 20 plus years, but he knows what he's doing.
He's rather Kirkian in that way. In the original series, like, Kirk is a very information gatherer, but will shoot from the hip when he asks you.
Yeah, I'll do what I got to do but he's also, and I don't know how many episodes you've seen, you sort of learn why. Yeah, so you learn why his singular job is keep his crew alive for very strong reasons. He's got some complex trauma in that department. And so for very strong reasons, he has to keep people alive. That is what he does, and he uses the protocols of Starfleet to do it. He needs those structures to keep people safe. Yeah.
So lastly, before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the writerly part of your brain as well. You're playing in the Marvel sandbox right now, which is so incredible. But at any point in your work, does your actor brain and your writer brain, did they find each other in conflict, or do they work together in a nice simpatico?
They 100% work together because when I'm writing a story, I want to write something that I would love to be in. Meaning, like I can feel the scenes, I can see the scenes, I know what it'll feel like on the inside as an actor writing these scenes. So they're never in conflict. It's all. I mean, I'm an entertainer, period. So whether it's writing or acting or improvising or any of it, it's all entertainment. All the lines kind of feed each other. And I think being an actor first gives me an interesting perspective on the writing side of things. And then the other way around. When I'm doing scenes and acting, I can appreciate the writing and understand ideally what the writer is going for.
Todd Stashwick, thank you so much for joining us here in the Popverse today. Everyone can see everything that we alluded to in just a few short days. February 16th, Picard Season 3 is debuting. Where can everybody find you online where they can send you their hottest Star Trek takes?
You can find me at Todd Stashwick on Twitter, at T.Stashwick on Instagram, and you can look at my nerdy merch site called thenerdcircus.com. where I sell a bunch of fun D&D related and pop culture related merch. That was a little project I started during the lockdown. So, yeah.
Yay. Follow Todd everywhere, support him, pick up his books, and watch Picard. Thank you so much.
Look what I did.
Oh, good. I've been muted this whole time. Super, super great. I thought you had the audio on the video is off. It's just me. That's okay. Thank you, everyone, for letting me know. Let's go back really quick. Quantum bands, great idea. As we know, if you saw the Miss Marvel TV series, they took the bands and they made them something from being simply decorative into being the source of Kamala's power, which more deeply ties her into what we know and what we're familiar with from the Carol Danvers Miss Marvel character. Jeremy says, back now. Thank you. Thank you, friends. You are seeing my editing skills right on display. I just want to go back and say thank you to everyone for being excited to see Todd. He's so amazing. Not many people are able to write incredible books. Please check out Mystic Libations if you haven't. Do incredible geeky things, work on a Marvel video game, and work on 2 roles in Star Trek, one of them being a Starfleet captain. How much cooler can you get? And we were so lucky. This week is the Picard press junket, and we were so lucky to get him to come and share his time and his expertise. Next time we have a video, maybe I'll leave myself unmuted. I was trying to be respectful of the editing that I did earlier this morning. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming and joining us live. You get to see such fun things like this and experience them on the air, and it makes all of you part of the Enter the Popverse team because you had to let me know that the sound was off. And I appreciate you in the depths of my deep, dark soul for doing exactly that. If you're checking out the Super Bowl this weekend or the Superb Owl, if you are a What We Do in the Shadows fan, please, of course, enjoy it responsibly. We are very, very excited to see what the best Super Bowl trailers are coming out this weekend. There's going to be some fun coverage of that coming up on the Popverse website. I also want to let you know that you can find all of the stories that we talked about today. Everything that we use to make this show happen is linked down in the description of this video, so you can go and revisit them. You can do some deeper dive reading on the conspiracy theories. You can learn everything that you need to know about Emerald City Comic-Con coming up March 2nd to 5th, 2023. You're going to see Veronica hosting panels. You're going to see me hosting panels. Also, with Jeremy Ross, who I know is watching live right now, we're going to be doing a trivia game that you can come and see. And we have a full slate of coverage that is going to be available where? On thepopverse.com. If you get yourself a membership, you get access to as much exclusive content that'll just make your head spin. We are doing all of this, of course, to celebrate the best in TV, movies, and comics. That is what we live and breathe for. That is why we are here. That is what we are hoping to bring to you each and every week here on Enter the Popverse. I also want to give everyone a special thanks who joined us for the first time live. I've had a ton of fun coming and talking to you. I hope you'll feel the same way. And while you're here, why not subscribe? Click that little bell so you never miss a single installation of Enter the Popverse or any of the other amazing video content that we are creating for you and releasing so many different days a week. I have been Ashley Victoria Robinson. You can find me all over the Popverse or on Twitter at Ashley V. Robinson. The V is very important. And my friends, I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.